This is the weekly Health Law News Nugget from Southern Health Lawyers. I'm Rich Sanders.
And this is the Health Law News Nugget for September 18th, 2018. Well, it's another example of Washington and Wall Street coming together this week as the Department of Justice announced yesterday its approval of the merger between Cigna and Express Scripts. This deal valued at $50 billion. News outlets all over the country are covering this deal for a couple of reasons. The first is that, as we've been talking about on the News Nugget all throughout the year, this is an example of how industry participants in healthcare are coming together to broaden their markets and try to approach more people with a greater variety of services and goods to be offered. Ultimately, reports one Wall Street analyst, this whole merger is about competition with Amazon, which seems to be entering new markets at such a clip that it's thrown the traditional kinds of health insurance companies like Cigna and traditional PBMs like Express Scripts into a sense of urgency in trying to get some kind of deal done just to make sure that Amazon is precluded in many ways from encroaching on their existing market shares. So Cigna and Express Scripts have a green light coming from the Department of Justice. It's important from a business perspective in this trend that we've talked about all year, but it's also important from a regulatory perspective. The last time the Department of Justice challenged a merger was actually two different mergers of health insurance companies back in 2016. Both got snarled up in federal court and ultimately never came forward and were ultimately consummated. Here the Department of Justice has taken a completely different turn, which is no real surprise given the approach to healthcare and its difference between President Trump and President Obama. But here the Department of Justice is giving a green light, whereas in a previous administration it might not have. So this is an important deal and sets the table for yet another deal later on this year that the Department of Justice is currently reviewing, and that is national health insurance company Aetna looking at acquiring the pharmacy chain CVS for a deal that's even higher value. So this trend that we're looking at throughout the year of mergers and acquisitions in positioning companies in ways that will help them prepare for the future continues on, this time with government approval. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Rich Sanders with Southern Health Lawyers. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.